You've had a cup of coffee in the afternoon, maybe even just a small one, and hours later you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. The clock ticks past midnight and still, sleep won't come. You close your eyes, toss and turn, try to count sheep, but your mind feels alert, your body restless. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people struggle with falling asleep after drinking coffee, sometimes even when they've had it early in the day. But why does this happen? If caffeine is supposed to wear off after a few hours, why can't you sleep? Let's explore the science, the myths, and the surprising truths behind coffee and its stubborn grip on your sleep. First, it helps to understand what caffeine actually does to your body. Caffeine is a natural stimulant found in coffee, tea, and many sodas. Its main job in the body is to block the action of a neurotransmitter called adenosine. Adenosine is what makes you feel sleepy as the day goes on. It builds up in your brain, making you more and more tired until eventually you need to sleep. When you drink coffee, caffeine binds to the adenosine receptors in your brain, effectively blocking them. This tricks your brain into thinking it's not tired at all, giving you that familiar jolt of alertness. But caffeine doesn't just disappear from your system the moment you stop feeling its effects. The time it takes for your body to remove half of the caffeine you've consumed is called its half-life. For most people, the half-life of caffeine is about 5 to 6 hours. That means if you have a cup of coffee containing 100 milligrams of caffeine at 2 p.m., about 50 milligrams will still be in your system at 7 or 8 p.m. and 25 milligrams at midnight. But the real story is more complicated than that. Genetics play a huge role in how your body handles caffeine. Some people metabolize caffeine quickly, processing it in their liver and eliminating it from their bodies in as little as 3 hours. Others are slow metabolizers. For them, the half-life of caffeine can stretch to 9 hours or more. That means if you're sensitive to caffeine, even a small cup of coffee in the morning might leave enough caffeine in your system by bedtime to disrupt your sleep. You may have noticed that a friend or coworker can drink an espresso after dinner and fall asleep with no problem, while you lie awake after a single afternoon cappuccino. It's not your imagination. Your genes are at work. But why does caffeine affect sleep so strongly? The answer lies not only in adenosine, but also in the way caffeine disrupts your body's natural circadian rhythm, the internal clock that helps regulate when you feel awake and when you feel sleepy. Caffeine can delay the timing of your body's production of melatonin, the hormone that signals your body it's time to wind down. Even if you feel sleepy, your body might not be ready for deep, restorative sleep if caffeine is still circulating in your blood. It's not just about falling asleep either. Research shows that caffeine can reduce the amount of deep sleep you get, even if you manage to drift off. Deep sleep is the most restorative phase of sleep, when your brain consolidates memories and your body repairs itself. Without enough deep sleep, you may wake up feeling groggy and unrefreshed, starting the cycle all over again with another cup of coffee. You might be thinking, but I've been drinking coffee for years. Shouldn't I be used to it by now? It's true that regular caffeine drinkers build up some tolerance to its effects, which means you might not feel as jittery or alert after a cup of coffee as someone who rarely consumes caffeine. However, even if you don't notice the immediate buzz, caffeine can still be quietly sabotaging your sleep quality in the background. Studies have found that people who drink coffee regularly still experience reductions in deep sleep and more awakenings during the night, even if they don't feel wired at bedtime. There's also the question of invisible caffeine. Coffee isn't the only culprit. Many teas, sodas, energy drinks, and even chocolate contain caffeine. Some over-the-counter pain medications and weight loss supplements hide caffeine as well. If you're sensitive, even a small amount of caffeine from unexpected sources late in the day can tip you into a restless night. But the story doesn't end there. Our modern lives are filled with stress, screens, and irregular routines, all of which can make us more vulnerable to caffeine's effects. Stress hormones like cortisol, released when we're anxious or under pressure, can amplify the arousing effects of caffeine. And staring at your phone or computer late into the night, with its blue light suppressing your melatonin production, can team up with residual caffeine in your system to create the perfect storm for insomnia. So, what can you do if you still can't sleep after coffee? The first step is to pay attention to your body's unique response to caffeine. Notice how you feel after drinking coffee at different times of day. If you find that you're still wide awake at bedtime after an afternoon latte, try moving your last cup of coffee earlier or switching to decaf after lunch. You might also want to consider how much caffeine you're actually consuming. A standard 8-ounce cup of coffee can have anywhere from 80 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, depending on the type of coffee and how it's brewed. Espresso shots, energy drinks, and cold brew can pack even more of a punch. Even black tea and green tea contain significant amounts, though usually less than coffee. Keep an eye on serving sizes. Many coffee shop drinks are much larger than a standard cup. If you're particularly sensitive, you may need to cut caffeine out of your routine much earlier in the day than you think. Some people find they sleep better if they avoid caffeine after noon, or even cut it out entirely. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your ideal caffeine cutoff time is as unique as your fingerprint. Another important factor is your overall sleep hygiene, the habits and routines that set the stage for a good night's sleep. Even if you're careful with caffeine, you might still struggle to fall asleep if you're exposed to bright screens late at night, eating heavy meals before bed, or dealing with stress and anxiety. Try to keep a consistent sleep schedule, wind down with calming activities in the evening, and create a comfortable, dark, cool environment in your bedroom. Over time, these small changes can add up to better sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping, it's also worth considering other lifestyle factors. Alcohol, for example, can disrupt your natural sleep cycles, leading to lighter, less restorative sleep, even if it helps you fall asleep faster. Nicotine is another stimulant that can keep you awake, and certain medications or medical conditions can make you more sensitive to caffeine's effects. Sometimes, the connection between coffee and sleeplessness is psychological. If you're worried that your afternoon cup of coffee will keep you up all night, that anxiety alone can make it harder to fall asleep. This is called the nocebo effect, the opposite of the placebo effect, where simply expecting a bad outcome makes it more likely to happen. If this sounds like you, it may help to practice relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing or mindfulness meditation, to break the cycle of worry and sleeplessness. For some people, insomnia is a chronic condition that persists even when caffeine isn't involved. If you're regularly struggling to sleep despite careful attention to your caffeine intake and sleep hygiene, it may be time to talk to a healthcare provider. Sleep disorders like insomnia, sleep apnea, or restless leg syndrome can interfere with your ability to get restful sleep and may require professional help. The bottom line? Coffee is a beloved ritual for millions of people around the world, offering comfort, energy, and pleasure. But its effects on sleep are real and more complicated than you might think. Your genes, your lifestyle, your stress levels, and your personal sensitivity all play a part in how caffeine affects you. If you find yourself lying awake after coffee, remember, you're not broken and you're not alone. Small changes, like adjusting your caffeine timing and improving your sleep habits, can make a world of difference. If you love coffee but struggle with sleep, try experimenting with decaf options, herbal teas, or caffeine-free alternatives in the afternoon and evening. Explore calming rituals at night, such as reading, gentle stretching, or listening to soothing music. Over time, you may find that you can enjoy the best of both worlds: a satisfying cup of coffee in the morning and a restful, restorative night's sleep. Above all, be kind to yourself. The occasional sleepless night happens to everyone, and it doesn't mean you need to give up your favorite beverage forever. Listen to your body, adjust your habits as needed, and remember, good sleep is about more than just avoiding caffeine. It's about caring for your whole self, mind, and body. So the next time you're wide awake after coffee, take a deep breath, make a plan for tomorrow, and know that better sleep is within your reach.